many girls across the board have decided, amongst the internet, that they can just sell whatever holes they can find on their body for a quick sack of cash, trying to, get rid of the man and opt out of the system, not realizing that most of the old men are the ones funding their bank account, and these, fly trips and these beauty sessions and Instagram pics are most likely rented cars, rented jets, and rented places. So today we're going to break down the current dating scene, the current model, and why young men and young women are having a hard time settling down, and why traditionalism is continuing to break apart. If you currently have any thoughts or opinions regarding said matter, feel free to leave those thoughts or opinions down below in the comments, as well as a huge shout out to him for you guys checking out those links down below in the description. Those are always some of the best ways to support me and the content around here. Now, let's begin this shit show.
14% of young American women ages 18 to 24 are on OnlyFans. We're not even talking about it. That's not empowerment. That's mass exploitation dressed up as freedom. 1.4 million young American women are sexualizing themselves online just to survive, and our culture is calling it brave. But let's be honest, they're not doing it because they feel powerful. They're doing it because the system convinced them that it's their only shot. While you scroll and laugh at the memes and binge the next distraction, this is all becoming normalized. Good is being called evil, evil is just being called good. We traded spiritual value for digital validation, and most people are just too numb to even notice. This is not okay. If your soul feels disturbed by this, you are not the problem. You're the remnant. So stay grounded, stay spiritually awake. Don't let this world make you forget what true sacred looks like. Because if we don't speak up now, there might not be nothing left to protect later.
Now, don't get me wrong. If I was a girl, this type of lifestyle, this type of method of making some quick cash, quick money, especially when you're young, would definitely be tempting. But I think a lot of these people don't really think about the longevity of these careers and realize that most women, once they reach their 30s and 40s, are not really making the same type of cash that they were back then. I know there's the whole MILF model, there's the GILF model, there's the older woman section category on the hub, but overall, that's not really the majority of the top women in this industry, and there definitely is a, little bit of a brief window that you really got to capitalize on before you kind of are out of this. So a lot of these women, especially just like this content creation stuff, like most YouTubers don't make a lot of money. Most of these girls don't make a lot of money. It's like a small percentage of people that genuinely make it in these industries. So you definitely are putting a lot on the line for really, kind of not a guaranteed return, and which most people never even get to see. So do you personally feel like this is just kind of a brainwashed society, is kind of just the downfall of civilization, and are we just watching Rome Part 2 while everybody just laughs at the jesters, the clowns, and the jokers while everything's falling down around us?
I made this much on OnlyFans last year. I've selected, 366 days, January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. Apply. And here are the numbers. In subscriptions, I've made before, gross, $100,000 in subscriptions, but my net was $82,000. In tips, gross was $44,000. I took home $35,000. In messages, I made $2,500, but my take home was just under $200,000. And then my referrals, I made $600. And the total before they took their 20% was almost $400,000, and my take home was just over $300,000.
Here's why starting an OnlyFans was the worst decision I made in my life. I did not realize that I was literally selling parts of my soul, and the money could have never made it worth it. I just wish that someone would have warned me and told me that I was going to be later experiencing PTSD from the sexual trauma and the experiences that I was subjecting myself to on a daily basis. I did not know that I would later need to be in trauma counseling. It brought me into way darker places than I ever could have imagined, and I never want to go back there. I wish I could go back in time to who I was before I started doing all that stuff and just tell myself that the money is not worth it. Keep your happiness. And that's all I want to tell any girl who's thinking about starting an account. I just hope I can save even just one girl from going through the pain and the trauma that I am now going through because I subjected myself to that for the last couple years.
Number 6 tip from a 33-year-old. The nature and basis of all relationships is exchange. Now, I know it sounds very not woo-woo or, touchy-feely, but whether it's financial value, emotional value, or any sort of social value, social capital, the nature of relationships is exchange. You're getting something out of it. The other person's getting something out of it. Even if it's just having fun, you want to be able to keep that relationship going by giving some value to the other person. It doesn't always have to be financial, but just being able to have that relationship means there's something being exchanged in the process. Otherwise, you would just be off by yourself.
Now, something that I think other foreign countries get to really, put right in the front of the table right away is that relationships are a transactional exchange. People don't really like to realize that, but it is a transactional exchange. You are giving some to get some, whether that's emotion-wise, sometimes actually, currency-wise, unfortunately. And a lot of other people just like to have, like I take you out, you take me out, I call you on the phone, I need someone to talk to, you call me sometime. And it's nice to have somebody, kind of touch up with and catch on, kind of get along with life with. And that's what friends are. But a lot of people, don't really realize that if you are going to get into a long-term relationship, you really have to both be willing to help each other out. And I'm not saying it has to be completely traditional where the man works all the time and the woman is always at home. That's not what I'm saying. But there definitely is a back and forth. And a lot of women these days feel like just because they're beautiful, just because they're hot, just because they have some hot Instagram pics, which by the way, everybody's seen, so it's not that special. It's not very, secular. It's not very selective. People really don't have much to show, so the men end up providing everything. They end up doing all the housework, and they end up, once everything gets done with, they take half their shit and they leave. And there are some circumstances where men get to, run out. They get to run off like a bandit, but majority of the time, even the way the world works, the courts still act as if it's still living in the traditional times, when really most people, most relationships, they're really not.
Fellas, do not date a single mother. You won't be her first, you won't be her focus, but you'll still pay like you are. Her life's already full. You're not building a family, you're inheriting one. You'll pay bills, do the work, and raise another man's blood while her ex lingers. That's not fatherhood. It's an emotional slavery with a smile. Okay? Why would you want to sit around and not have a connection with children that look like you, inherit your DNA, your personality? This fucking child has nothing to do with you, not connected at all in any kind of way. All the children I have, I made with women that had no children until I showed up. I have a connection with my sons. We're one and the same. It's different hanging out with them. When we talk, hang out, I can feel it. They look like me. They act like me. The connection is real. Same with my daughters. Yeah, I'm a real father. I'm not inheriting shit. Are you fucking crazy? That's his problem. Why the fuck? Think about that. You want to inherit a family? Why don't you go make your own family, bro? Make your own family, dog.
So it happened again. I had a date cancel on me and we were supposed to go out for dinner tonight as a single mom. So it's a few hours before the dinner. I get a Instagram message that he's not gonna be able to make it. He has to bail. This was a guy from my DMs and he's out of town. He said he was coming into town, wanted to take me out for dinner. I said sure, cleared my schedule, made sure that I used one of my 4 free nights a month to meet this guy. And the funny thing is that I knew this was gonna happen. I had a feeling a few days ago and told a few friends that this guy was gonna stand me up. So I guess at least he had the decency to send me a message and let me know that he wasn't gonna make it. I just don't get it. I don't understand. I don't think this guy had actually any intentions of coming to my city. I think it was all bullshit and I was just picking up on this really hardcore, but I can't even get a date. I literally cannot even get one date, get people to meet me. I don't understand what it is. I'm not on the dating apps, trying to meet people in real life. Thought maybe I would try my DMs to see if that was an option, like my own personal dating app for all my social media. That's not working. What is it? Like, what am I not getting? What am I doing wrong? What am I not seeing?
Any guys watching this, I genuinely want to ask you, would you ever settle down with a single mom? I don't think a lot of women really think about how much of a burden that is when you're trying to settle down in the future. Maybe some of you women who are in your early 30s or your late 20s and you're starting to build a family, and you maybe did have I'm not going to say an accident child, but you've made some mistakes in your past and now you're living with that. I know they're not mistakes. Every child's a blessing. Yada yada. It is what it is. Moving on here. Are you starting to realize that maybe this is starting to affect your love life, and that if you want to find a real partner, some people want to start fresh, and the older you get, the harder it is to find another person to start fresh with. I've kind of started to realize that myself, that the older I get, it's going to be pretty hard to find somebody. I'm not saying I want a virgin. I wouldn't even really care about that at all. I mean, I'm not a virgin, so I can't really be that mad. But it is kind of a back and forth system where it's like, what are you providing and what are you getting in return? I'm not saying that it always has to be extremely transactional, but at the end of the day, it can't just be one person gives everything and the other person gives nothing, because that's just constantly going to create conflict and misery. To wrap up another video discussing the lackluster dating market, how you and I are most likely destined to die alone, broke, and sad. So if you have any thoughts, opinions regarding anything discussed in this video, I'd love to have you leave those down below in the comments. And I usually read through those, sort through those, and respond to the ones I see fit. As well as a huge shout out to you guys checking out those links down below in the description. Those are always some of the best ways to support me and the content around here. Now, it's kind of all I got for today, so see you next one. Bye.